Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you all?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, we are here at 95 Cent Boss doing the afternoon show
Hmm.
with Councilman Ben Gray. So we want everybody to know what's going on in North Omaha. We've got some things to talk about. We got some things to talk about, don't we,
Yeah,
Councilman?
we got quite a few things to talk
Yeah.
about because and let me do a disclaimer right off the bat and say I don't spend a lot of time on social media because I don't have the time. So until I saw Diamond, who runs Emery's, on Tuesday, and then I talked to Bill yesterday, I didn't realize I needed to come in and defend myself for anything.
Okay.
So I was kind of perplexed about it especially when I talked to Diamond, and I just because I get on social media, but I don't spend. I mean, if I'm on social media, maybe 20 minutes a day. That's about 15 minutes too much for me because I should be doing something else.
Right,
But I
right.
try to keep up with social media, but I don't. I have a Twitter account that I haven't used. I don't have Instagram, or I wouldn't even know how to use it if I did. I do have Facebook, but I don't. I don't look at it that often, and evidently, some of the things that are said about me don't make it to my page or anything like that, because otherwise I would see it
Right.
and respond to it. And I had someone send me that did a screenshot of some comments that were made by one individual that I'm going to address today. But that's the only time, other than Diamond, the screenshot I got, and then talking to Bill. I mean, I didn't know that I needed to be defended for anything. So, and then the things that are being said are so inaccurate and in some cases so silly. I just thought I ought to come in and defend them. And see, the thing that I would prefer to do, I like radio. Obviously, I come from television, and I like radio. But the fact of the matter is, what I like doing more than anything else were the town halls that I was doing before COVID, because I was doing town halls like maybe once every 4 to 6 weeks. Because I like because I like for people, I like to be in front of my constituents, and I like to get questions answered. But I want people to see my face when I answer the question. When I'm asked a question and I answer it, I want people to be able to see my face, and then I want to hear, some of their responses and so forth. And that's better done in person. And the reason why you do it in person is for several reasons. One, you get a chance to see people in an environment, and hopefully it makes people comfortable. But secondly, and more importantly, if people are exaggerating the facts, you get an opportunity to address it right then,
Right.
instead of waiting. And so now, a little bit, I'm a little bit behind the curve, because I wasn't aware that I was being accused of all of these things. As a matter of fact, I wish I had the authority to do some of these things. But most of the things I had very little to nothing to do with. But I'm being blamed for it. So I just thought I'd come in and address a few things.
Well, we appreciate you coming in. Let's get into it.
Let's start with, if you all don't mind, let me start with Emery's. Okay. Because
And the owner is
the owner is Diamond.
Laurel.
Yeah. And Diamond, I was doing I was up on the corner of 24th and Lake. Preston Love Jr. had called a news conference to support Kara Eastman, the black community that supports Kara Eastman. And so I went up there and I participated in that. And so I hung around for a little while, and then Diamond came up. I saw her pull up, and she came up. She said, I got a statement and a question for you." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, what's the statement?" I mean, start with the statement, because I'll probably be able. I don't know if I'll be able to question or not. I was just kidding with it though. But she said, "Well, I've had to defend you a number of times on Facebook." And I said, "Defend me from what?" And she said, "Well, they're accusing you of being the person that closed Emery's." And I looked at her and I said, "Emery's is closed?" Because I didn't know that it had been closed.
Is it closed?
Now, my understanding is that she's in the last month or whatever.
Oh, okay.
That's my understanding. I don't know if that's accurate or not, so I'll be talking out of school on that.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is all of that, the whole Fair Deal complex, that's all owned by Omaha Economic Development Corporation. So they make all of the rules as to who stays, who goes, who gets hired, all those sorts of things. That's done by the Omaha Economic Development Corporation, not me.
Okay.
So I didn't have anything to do with Emory's. And, one of the things that Diamond was saying that she had to do on Facebook was, let people know. And she calls me Uncle Ben. She said, Uncle Ben wouldn't close my place. And then she went on to say she was rather sarcastic with some of the people on Facebook, because she said, those of you who are complaining against Ben, I've never seen you in my place. You don't support my place. Ben comes to my place regularly. He brings people with him. Funny story. I meet periodically with a group of union representatives and contractors and others, and they all love to eat at Emory's. And so I'll mess with them sometimes when they call me, because some of these guys are from out of town, and they'll come in. Councilman, you want to have lunch? I say, yeah. I say, where do y'all want to go? And then there's silence on the phone. And then I say, y'all want to go to Emory's, don't you? Well, Councilman, since you mentioned it, So I spent a considerable amount of time eating in Emory's. I get their fish on a regular basis. During the month of Lent, that's the only place, that and Clare Methodist Church are the only two places I go to get fish, is Emory's and Black businesses, which is what other people should be doing as well. I support the store down there. We buy goods and services for the towers at the Omaha Housing Authority and others. So, I'm active down here, but I'm active down here spending money,
Right.
because that's how you support your businesses. You spend money with your businesses. And so I'm spending money with them. And then, she asked me, then Diamond asked me, she said, well, she heard that I was upset, that I might be upset about her having parties on the weekend. And I looked at her again. I said, you have parties on the weekend? Because with COVID, I don't get out. I'm not going anywhere. People are not taking COVID seriously, which the numbers are going up. And I'm starting to get irritated with people, quite frankly, because this is a serious thing. And people are dying of this. And senior citizens are being harmed by this. And we got people who seem to think this is some sort of game or some sort of joke. I would love to go. I mean, I have a membership to go to grown folks. I've not been to grown folks yet. Would love to go. But right now, with this virus being what it is, it's a little if it's a little tentative for me to be going out. And so I don't go out at night too much, especially where I know there's going to be large crowds, and I know some of those crowds aren't going to be wearing face masks. So I wasn't aware that Emory's was having parties on the weekend. Didn't bother me at all. The only thing I knew about that I did say something about was I had several calls from people in the community who were angry about what goes on 24th Street on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because they live here and they have to get up and go to work the next morning. And there's music and loud music and all kinds of stuff going on. And some of that was going on in Emory's parking lot. So I said, have Michael put a closed property sign on that lot so that the police can go on and clear that lot after midnight. But that was the only thing that was the only thing I had to do with Emory's other than to eat there. So, so what is being said is totally false. But the other thing I have to say too is that, when you're in this business.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
So why did you when it closed after 12? Was it
No, not the lot.
The parking lot.
The parking lot.
Well,
and the parking lot
was a private property?
Yeah, a closed property sign, because let me put it like this. If you got a parking lot out here and you got people that are parking on your lot illegally or without your knowledge after midnight, okay, if you don't have a closed property sign up, police can't go on the lot and clear it. Okay.
So it's private property.
So the closed property sign was so if Diamond wanted and if the community wanted, police could go on and clear that lot without having to call the owner, because there's a closed property sign there. Okay. So that was the reason for that. And that was the only involvement other than eating at Emory's that I had to do with Emory's, you know. So that was totally false. And I will say that, you know, you and I know, and we're not keeping any secret. You know, there are people in the community that no matter what I do, they're not going to like me.
Mhm.
And some of them I don't have any feelings, have good feelings for either. And sometimes that happens in when you're doing business like this. And so for me, I will come, I will lay out what's going on. I prefer to do it in person. I prefer to do it in a town hall.
Mhm.
But absent that, the radio station and others are the best way to get the information out and to get the message out and correct some misinformation that is currently out there.
Well, I read, and I'm reading something right now. Check this out. I'm gonna talk while you read this, because he's 70. You know, he's 70, right, man?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and that's 5 minutes ago. Now, most 70-year-olds, aren't on social media because we're gonna be teaching, that age group, digital literacy. Now, of course, most 70 don't have Facebook pages, so they don't know what's going on. They don't have no 411. And so, again, I counsel people that do stuff like that on Facebook. They use Facebook to tear people down, don't have accurate information. And so I like to invite those people in. I did invite those people in because, I heard them heard the chatter. And so, I like to bring the chatter in. So I invite the chatter in because because if you have what the word I'm if you have evidence per se, I gave them the platform, but they didn't show up.
Bill, they're not coming. They don't come to my town hall. They don't come to the town hall because they know if they lie, I'm gonna catch them in it, and I'm gonna address it on the spot.
Right.
So they don't come to my town halls. They don't do anything. They cover up with Facebook and other things, and that's okay.
Right.
I mean, I understand the reason for it.
And the reason why I say to use Facebook because they know you got a Facebook page. They're not your friend.
No.
So you're not going to see the information.
No, I never see. As a matter of fact, like I told you, I'm here today because I talked to Diamond and I talked to you, and both of y'all were telling me how much y'all were defending me, and I'm saying defending me from what? And then you were telling me the story. And I said, well, let me come in and make this straight. at least hear it from me.
Right.
A lot of these people that called me bootlicker and all that kind of nonsense, all that is silly stuff.
Right.
Those are silly people that do that. I don't waste my time with them. What I do though is for those who are really seriously interested in information and interested in how we move forward. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the name calling. I'm not interested in the bootlicking. I'm not interested in all of that 60s nonsense. Where we need to be now is economically involved in how we change our community. I'm a member of an investment club. We're going to talk about that. I want to talk about that a little bit later, because I listen periodically to what they say on Facebook and stuff like that. And my first question is, have you guys spent any money at any of these places that you're talking about? Have you been supportive of any of these Black businesses that you're talking about? Have you put together some sort of an investment plan for you and friends that think like you to put together an investment program or a group of investors that put in money that later on are going to use that money to invest? I mean, we just getting ready to open a Black bank here. We need to be supportive of that Black bank.
Right.
We need to be supportive of your radio station. We need to be supportive of Emory's and others that open up. We need to be supportive of Love Jazz once it opens back up and it operates right. Love Jazz is not going to close, by the way. We'll get to that in a minute.
Now, Emory's cool.
Emory's is cool.
The Diamond's cool, and
now they got they still have to work through some issues.
Yeah, but
those issues with OEDC, not me.
Right. So that's why I want to talk about JAR criteria. And so people want to blame you, but that's not your jurisdiction.
No, that's not my responsibility. Emory's is not my responsibility. Emory's is the responsibility of the Omaha Economic Development Corporation, and what they decide there is between them. This is a private entity, nonprofit. I have nothing to do with that, other than If they want to do a project or something like that, I'll come in, we'll talk about the project. But absent that, I don't have anything to do with that. I don't engage in what private buyers and private sellers do.
Okay.
That's up to them. Those are business decisions. What we have to recognize and understand is that we live in a capitalistic society, whether we like it or not. And so capital is what's going to rule the day. And if we're not investing, if we're not joining with people like-minded like us who want to invest, because that's how we're going to maintain and build on our community, is through people recognizing that economics is the name of the game. And if we're not economically sound, then we're subject to be the subject for all kinds of things to happen to us that we don't control because we haven't put in the dollars to make sure that supporting our businesses.
Right.
If we don't support the radio station, if we don't support Embry's, if we don't support OEDC, if we don't support the Empowerment Network, who do we think is going to support them?
Yeah, no one, without a doubt. It got to be left up to us. And we got to agree to disagree, and that's a certain skill set. Brother Ben, let's switch to now Love Jazz. That is a city property. Is that correct?
That's a city property.
Now you do have jurisdiction over that.
Well, the city has jurisdiction over that.
Okay.
It's not just me.
Okay.
It's the city that has jurisdiction over it because it's taxpayer dollars that keep that building going. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not just me.
Okay.
Martine asked me a question about, because, Love Jazz had been operating barely for a number of years. And the Turnback Tax Committee, which is made up of myself, Chris Rogers, and Brenda Council, we were trying to support them as best as we can. There were times where we would give them money from our turnback tax, and then we'd have to turn back around later in the summer and have a special meeting because they weren't getting the resources that they needed to give them more money from the turnback tax.
Okay.
So we've spent, as a Turnback Tax Committee, we've spent significant money at Love Jazz. And, Martine asked me, a question, if you don't mind. She asked me a question about, well, why did it go on so long? Well, it went on so long was because I refused to let people close it. Okay, because I felt like the board was close enough that if we could just get over the hump to get to the programming that Love Jazz was originally designed to do. Programming, not nightclubs, not all, programming with a sprinkling of jazz programming and stuff like that, where we would talk about jazz, and so forth. But it wouldn't be anything other than those kinds of things, which is what the original intent of Love Jazz was. I thought if we could get over the hump, so in a way, Love Jazz being open as long as it was my fault, because if you want to blame somebody, because I refused to let it die, because I thought if I could get the board over the hump, to where we can significantly do programming, then, that would be the best of all worlds. It just came to a point where after a while, I like everybody else, lost faith in what the board was doing. So I decided, I'm gonna walk away from it, and not walk away from it, but we're going to put another board in place. It's not going to close. One of the things that we're considering, and all of these are considerations, none of this is etched in stone. One of the things that we're considering is moving the business improvement district into part of that space. In other words, we want to renovate it first of all, because there's some things that we need to do with that building because it's not in good shape in some places. So we wanted to do some renovation. And then we wanted to put the Love Jazz and Art Center there, along with the Business Improvement District, and along with a community space for people to have meetings. That was among the things we were thinking about doing. And that's still one of the things that's on the table that we're talking about. And this is not something that's new. If you go to Kansas City, for example, because I'm going to give you two examples of how this works. In Kansas City, for example, if you ever go to the Baseball Hall of Fame,
Yeah, I've been there.
okay, well, if you've been there,
Yep, yep.
so that you know, right across from there is a jazz club.
Jazz club on
Okay.
both ends,
And
and then theater right across the street.
Yeah, but the jazz club that's in that building supports that museum. Okay,
So more composition.
more, yeah. In other words, what you want to do is you want to build sustainability so that you're not always going to people asking for money.
Right.
Okay, so you want to build some sustainability. One of the ways you do that, in our judgment, what we're looking at is, you know, the business improvement district, along with a couple of other offices being in there that pay rent. Love Jazz giving that time to get on its feet so that it could pay rent as well, so that you got some sustainability in the building. And the other place like that is just right down here on 24th and Ames. You all know that I'm a master mason, and that Masonic Lodge down there on 24th and Lake, the 357 supports the lodge.
Right.
Okay. So there's reason for doing something like we're trying to do with Love Jazz, so that it's sustainable, so that you're not always going to people asking for money and you don't always have your hand out. And in other instances where I'm talking about the investment club that I'm part of and others, we can invest in it. We need to start doing some of our own investment instead of waiting for other people to do it for us.
I agree with you. Now, are there options for other proposals?
There are options for other proposals. Like I said, this is not etched in stone. The only thing that is,
okay.
and this has been a sore spot with me for as long as Love Jazz has been in existence. There has never been, and I thought it was a slap in the face, for at least to have a member of the Love family in an ex officio capacity on that board.
Yeah.
To resist it, because we had board members that resisted putting them there.
Right.
And I'm saying to myself, you know, this was built for a legend.
Yeah.
And his son, his namesake, had issues prior to this, but he had built up
his daughter.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying Preston Love Jr. has done more things now to turn things around than a whole lot of folks with Black Votes Matter and Black Lives Matter and the tour and all of the other things that he is doing.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, there ought to be an ex officio place for a member of the Love family to be on that board. And so that's what other thing that I'm going to be striving for, is to make sure that, you know, Mr. Love is respected and his father is for the legend that his father is.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I just want to make sure that we have open proposals. If those offices, are you talking about putting people in the offices that are currently there, or remodeling, or adding on to the
remodeling and adding on?
Okay.
We're trying to get we're hopefully going to get that, you know, the space that's available.
Okay.
Next door. Yeah. So we're hoping to get that so that we can expand a little bit. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Now that's on the table, but that ain't, I mean, it's not etched in stone, like you said.
So all that property that's vacant now, but good property over there, because they did refurbish all those small businesses.
Yeah, but those are owned by somebody else.
Also, you're not going to be able to use that. So
no.
That open lot right there, you'll be able to.
Yeah, we'd be able to expand to that open lot, but that'd be as far as we could go.
Okay.
So I have a question. You mentioned about the sustainability and having a program or an entity help sustain the Love Jazz Center as it's being proposed. Would that mean that they would have some type of say so over what happens in Love Jazz?
The board would. The board would. Yeah, the new board, the new board of Love Jazz would have a say so over Love Jazz. The board that operates the Business Improvement Center would have, you know, say so over the Business Improvement District, and the other room would be just for community gathering.
Okay, now how you get on all these boards? Because I mean, I've been here for 55 years, building 2 businesses. I've never been asked to be on the board. I'm in media. I got one of the biggest mics besides yours. You gave me your mic from Kaleidoscope. For real. You gave me your mic from Kaleidoscope. You had the biggest mic before, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now you passed the torch over here. I got the biggest mic. And I brag because I work for it. It's just like you work for it, and that's why I bring you in, because I respect you, because when no one believed in me, you gave me an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom always taught me, when someone treats you good, you treat them better. And so those ethics have led me to this position.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure I'm on one of those decision making boards without a doubt.
Here's what, Bill, I think it would be.
Or we gotta see what's the criteria. Do I need to go get an education?
No,
I mean,
here's what it would be easier for you than it would be for me. And the difference being when I was in television,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was a photojournalist in television. So being a journalist in television, it makes it kind of hard for you to sit on boards. So from that perspective, there were very few boards that I sat on when I was doing the television show and all of that, simply because I didn't want I didn't want the appearance of a conflict of interest. Okay. And that's what I think. I mean, as you move forward, I think you need to consider that when you decide that you want to be on some boards. Make sure that there are boards where you can have some effectiveness.
I ain't on no board.
Yeah, but if
Jazz, because the reason why, because when I was doing my TV show, Channel 22, we're gonna talk about Channel 22.
Mm-hmm.
Before I started this radio station, Preston Senior, when he was running Omaha Star.
Mm-hmm.
After I do my show, he'll call me.
Mm-hmm.
He'll say, young man, I like what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Come on down here. And I just go down there and give him a 2-list and he's telling me all the stories with the mafia and all the stories with Motown.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, I know the essence of the Love family also.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm advocating for sure. And on live air, let all the haters know too. For real. Because I want to make sure that decisions are made for people that have that don't have a voice.
And for you being an operator, it would be easier for you to be on the board than it would be when I was doing Kaleidoscope, because you have to maintain a level of fairness, or the appearance of a level of fairness, and you can't do that if you're in a position where you're inviting guests on and stuff like that. But in the capacity that you're in as an owner, you would have a little bit more authority to be on boards than I would as a journalist, simply because of the fairness of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I didn't appear on a lot of boards, when I was in television. I was on a couple, like the NAACP. I was on that board for a while. The Urban League, I was on that board for a while, but various other boards. The only other boards that I think I was on had to do with children,
right?
And working with young people. And the other thing I did was working with gang members. So, all of those were things that I felt like I could do and not violate, the journalism code of ethics.
Right.
Okay.
So Love Jazz is not closing.
No, it's going to be renovated. And then there's going to be a discussion as to what we do with it. There are a couple of things that are going to be there. The Business Improvement District is going to be there in some capacity. Love Jazz is going to be there in its full capacity.
Okay, great.
Everything else is open for discussion, including what offices might want to go in there. How big a space we want for a community, if the community wants a community space. What that would look like and so forth. But a couple of things are going to be, and one is going to be the Business Improvement District. It only makes sense to put it in the heart of North Omaha.
Right.
So, it only makes sense to put a Business Improvement District there. And
where is it currently?
Well, currently they're housed out of somebody's home right now.
Okay.
But Creighton was willing and supportive of giving the Business Improvement District office space. But I thought that the Business Improvement District ought to be in the district.
Right.
And they ought to be front and center in the district.
Yes, that's right.
And when you do this, the way you do it, like I said, if you do it similar to what we did with the Lodge, similar to what they did with the Baseball Hall of Fame in Kansas City, you're having different entities feed off of each other. So you're creating sustainability, so you're not having to go to different places and always beg for money.
Right. Because down in Kansas City, during the daytime, they bring school age children. They got bus after bus coming in, and of course they do the tour of the museum, but also they're going over music composition.
Going over music composition,
Programming.
exactly. It's
Yeah,
programming.
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's great. It's great. You can see, I mean, the kids can get to experience, some of the legends that we even have in our own community. Now you're hiring these musicians during the daytime.
So
And there are a lot of musicians that would
Yes.
love to be in Love Jazz working with young people. Curly Martin is one of them that I could think of off the top of my head. But there are a number of others that would like to be down there working with young people. We just got to create the environment for that programming to happen.
Well, when you say create the environment, Councilman, there needs to be someone that knows how to pull programming together. So we're talking about staff when you say that?
Yeah, we're talking about, Love Jazz is eventually going to have to hire an operator.
A program director.
A program director or operator or something. Yeah, because somebody needs to know how it works.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And they need to be connected with the community so they know where to where possibilities are, like these
but I will
musicians.
But I will tell you that it's going to a lot of it is probably going to start with Preston Love Jr. because we need to be there needs to be a presence of the Love family in some capacity.
And is he in agreement with that?
Preston's in agreement with that.
Okay.
I mean, there needs to be,
because I'm just baffled as to why that never took place in the first place.
Well,
from the very beginning.
People. I'm just going to be straight with you. People are petty. Some people are petty, and so there was, an effort on the part of some board members in the past to leave the Love family out. It was intentional.
Man.
But what I don't understand is if it's his namesake, it's the organization, the nonprofit's in his name, family's name, why wouldn't he not be a part of that?
Well, he is now. He's going to be a part of it now.
Okay.
And like I said, when we first started talking about it, I said, that's always been a sore spot with me. We got Love family members here that ought to be at least an ex officio member. They don't need to be a voting member, but God, they need to be on the board. Their input needs to be given. We're talking about their father who is a legend.
That's what I'm saying.
So there ought to be, so there will be now.
It's common sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Common sense. Well, we got that crab and umbrella mentality here, and so that's why I like to bring in, those that be talked about. I'll be talked about all the time. That's why I'll be talking about y'all. And so
the other thing that I was accused of, and I want to get to this too, is OIC. I want to get to OIC and CTI. You tell me which.
So we handled Emory.
We handled Emory.
Okay.
We've handled Love Jazz.
Love that. Let's keep going down 24th Street. See, I love this.
Let's take a stroll down 24th Street.
Just stroll down 24th.
Now,
OIC.
OIC is going to take a little bit longer for me to explain.
Let me ask one question first.
Sure.
Investment. Is there possibility to invest in Love Jazz where we get that out of the city hand and we get that into our people hand? Because right now, gentrification, that's all, man. And I think that's not only you, that's everybody. They're talking about gentrification and people buying across. We don't cross street too. We don't cross street. But I just want you to keep that in your mindset. So with OIC,
there is a potential for it. What you talking about, OIC or Love Jazz? I thought you were talking about Love Jazz.
OIC, but I want to keep the gentrification.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. But I think you were asking me a question about investing in Love Jazz or OIC.
No, in Love Jazz.
In Love Jazz, the problem with Love Jazz is, because one of the things that I had thought about was just trying to sell it and get the city out from under it altogether, and selling it to a black vendor that has the same intentions of what the city had.
Okay.
Selling the building.
But selling the building to somebody so that the city and the taxpayers don't have to worry about the upkeep and all those kinds of things. But selling it is because there's so much community development block grant dollars in it, and the way block grant dollars work is if you sell something that was built with block grant dollars, number one, the city has to get back what they put in it in terms of block grant. That building, as much money as we've sunk into it, I think we're somewhere around $800,000 of block grant dollars. What private entity or what investment group is going to try to come up with $800,000 for that building? That building is not even worth that much.
Right.
So who's going to come up with that?
Right.
So, you know, to answer your question, yeah, you can do it, but the question is, do you want to?
Right. Right.
Okay. So, you know, that's an open-ended question that.
Now, you talked about self-sustainability.
Yes.
Is that the plan for the long run to gain ownership, especially if we develop self-sustainability in that building where we bring it up?
I hope somebody does that, but that's going to be past my time, Bill. You know, but I hope that someone continues to follow what we've started and will eventually move in the direction of ownership, you know, down the line somewhere. But again, that building is cost prohibitive. I don't know any person in their right mind that's going to pay $800,000 or more for that building.
Right.
Not right now, not in this present condition, not the way it is right now. And it's not even valued at that much money.
Okay. OIC.
OIC is going to be a little bit difficult to talk about, but let me do it. Let me try and do it this way, because the majority of what we're talking about now is is at the state. So let me start by saying this. If you're familiar with OIC and you've been in there, you know where the kitchen is, where the area is where they serve food. Okay. That area south, the land belongs to the city.
Interesting.
Okay. The land now, not the building. The land belongs to the city.
Right.
The parcel north of that cafeteria is owned by a private person. And my understanding is that person has passed on. They owned a number of lots along Maple Street, and then they own that lot that OIC sits on.
Okay.
And so now you've got the city owning part of that land, a private person owning another part of the land, and the board owning the building. So how they did this, I have no idea. So don't even ask me, because I don't know. Back during that time when they were doing zoning and how they managed to put this together with, you know, how they did it. You can't do it today, because our zoning laws won't allow it today. So whatever went on then. The other thing I'll say is that for whatever reason, and I'm not casting aspersions or saying anything bad, because they probably had their reasons for doing it, but Dr. Dodd at that time, who was running OIC, they decided not to affiliate with the national group. Now, you know, OICs are national. Okay. And so this OIC, that's why it's called OOIC, because it's Omaha Opportunities and Industrialization Center, because they didn't want to affiliate with the national.
Okay.
Now, if you go to Seattle, Portland, and some other places, you will see these OICs have taken off.
Yeah.
I mean, they've added to their building, they've added programming, they get federal funding and all these other things. And why we didn't do that, I don't know.
Boards.
I don't know. I'm not going to say, Bill. I'm not going to put it.
I can say it.
Okay.
Brother Ben, you got to be politically, all correct and stuff. But no, boards. I mean, boards. I mean, that's why we in this situation. We got brothers and sisters that have been selfish for real. And go ahead and get mad at me. I don't care. We've been making, people, and they've been recycled and putting on same boards, and then failure after failure. And so, man, do what you got to do. And I encourage everybody else to do what you got to do, because we gotta do. We can't sell a meteor. We can't sell failure no more.
But let me finish OIC, because it's a little more complicated than what people think.
So does that board still exist?
Yeah, that board still exists. As a matter of fact, where we are now, and just so people are aware, the board is fighting the city in Lincoln. Okay, the Secretary of State, they're before the Secretary of State, and the intent of the city is to try and get the building. Okay, and I got to be honest with you, it ain't likely that that's going to happen. What's more likely going to happen is that the board is going to gain that building. And here's the deal. Right now it's at the state. And so, we don't know what kind of ruling is going to come down from the state or whatever. Let's assume, for example, that the board gets the building. The board wins and they get to sell the building. Okay. the way they will probably most likely, for their interest, and keep in mind again, this is a capitalistic society, and they have every right to do what they're doing. And in fact, they would be stupid if they didn't get as much money out of it as they could. So they would probably sell to the highest bidder. The way the city operates, based on criteria that I placed into the city, as to how we sell our buildings, we sell it, especially in impacted areas like North and South Omaha. One of the criteria that we use, the first criteria is the highest and best use for the community. The next criteria is price. Okay. So if you've got a good plan, and your bid may be lower than somebody else, if your plan coincides with the needs of the community, then the city can go ahead and go with that plan as opposed to the highest bidder. If the board gets it, I would assume, and again, they would be stupid if they didn't get the best price. So, because again, we live in a capitalistic society, so it would not be smart unless you're going to do something with other entities within the community to help keep going and build it up. I mean, there's several ways you can go, but right now I have no say on it. The city has no say in it. It's before the state and the Secretary of State now, and whatever the Secretary of State decides.
Okay. So you're not to blame for OIC, did it?
No, I ain't to blame for that either.
Okay.
I've tried to get, on several occasions, I tried to get developers to go into OIC, and there was a board prior to this one. And when I was trying to take developers down there to help, renovate OIC, I kept getting turned down. I got a little frustrated with it, so I kind of let it go for a while.
Okay. All right.
So where are we at with the OIC? Is there?
Well, where we are now is at the state. Like I said, it's at the state level. So whatever the Secretary of State decides, if they decide to give the building to the city still owns their ground, and this private person who I think is deceased, and I think his stuff is in probate at this point. But they own that portion of the ground. We own our portion of the ground, but we don't own the building. And if the Secretary of State decides to give it to the board for them to sell, and they already have OIC out on the market. It's already on the market. So if they win the day, then they can sell the building. If we win the day, we're also going to sell the building. Well, we got a lot more steps. With the board, it's simple. They can sell the building. We got a lot more steps. I mean, first of all, we'd have to negotiate with the board, or we'd have to take it by eminent domain. But even after we did that, we'd have to negotiate with whoever this other entity is.
Right.
Okay, so the OIC is going to be kind of in limbo for a while unless the board, it's hard to say because I don't know what the state's going to do. If the state rules today, and I'm not aware of anything that they've done today, so I doubt that it's going to happen today. Probably won't happen tomorrow. But I'm hoping that the state will make some sort of decision so that the city knows what to do. And that I know what to do, because right now I don't know what to do. It sits at the state level, and until they make a decision, there's nothing to do.
Right.
Omaha, the burbs, the bluffs. We're talking to our city councilman, Ben Gray. It is 4:14. We got him by about 45 more minutes. Brother Ben, we're gonna cross the street.
Okay.
We're gonna cross the street and then go a little south back on 24th. And
okay.
OS. What's it? BN building?
OSBN.
Yeah, OSBN.
Oh, OSBN. Oh, you're talking about we're going a little bit north then.
No, we're going south. We're going back south. Across the street.
Okay.
24th to Lake. We're back on 24th to Lake. Now we have the building across the street. It's an OSBN building.
Yeah, it used to be the old
technology.
Small business network. Yeah.
What's going on with that building right now?
I don't know. I can only tell you what I've heard and take that for what it's worth. Because it's just speculation.
Is that private also?
That's private.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the city. City sold the building, and that's all the city could do. And in selling the building, you had to keep in mind that entity had a board, and they were losing money like crazy, and they were liable. And so they needed to get from under that building, the best way they could. And so it was sold for a higher price than it was worth. But the people that own it now, my understanding, and I don't know this for sure. So, but because this is all private entity now, but what I've been told is that they've found that it's too expensive to tear that building down. So what they might do is gut it, renovate it, and make it a mixed use kind of a facility, apartments, office space, and commercial.
Okay, so
that's what I've been told, but I don't know that for a fact. That's just some of the conversation that I've heard, but I don't know. It's a private entity. It's a private organization. The city has nothing to do with it anymore other than to sell the building. And so what they do with it, I don't know, but those are the things that I've heard.
Right. Okay. Now, 24th Street is, I know. Well, actually, let's talk about across. Let's keep going south. We got the area. We got the new building right here, the Union. We have this building right here.
Is that the old
daycare?
Daycare,
right
yeah.
Here. Do you is that city owned? Is that
No.
privately owned also?
That was city owned, but the city sold the building.
Is there any other city owned buildings along 24th Street?
The old Native Omaha Club, and that's up for bid right now.
Now, okay. Now, what's the process of that? Because I said, is that what you just explained earlier?
Highest and best use.
Okay.
Highest and best use is the first criteria. Sale price is the second criteria. Okay. So if it's a plan that is more beneficial to the community, that can outweigh someone who may bid more money than the entity that wants to do this for the community. Okay. That's the way it's been set up at the city. And I was mostly responsible for making sure that language got in there so that we got the highest and best use first. But I didn't get any pushback from that. The city recognizes that, what's in the best interest of the community is in the best interest of the city.
Can it be used for the same purpose as it was built? A kitchen in there. We have another place to eat on 24th Street.
There are a lot of things that you can do with it. Now, here's my caveat to that, Bill. I've encouraged people because I know there are a couple of Black investors that are interested in it. And I've talked to both of them. And I said, go look at the structure of that building. If you think that structure is okay, if you think the footings are sound, then you go ahead and make a bid. If your intent is to tear it down and build something else, I don't know that I have a problem with that either. But I want you to make sure that, because that building has been there for a while. As a matter of fact, you all are too young to know this. But before it was the Native Omaha Club and a couple of other things, it was the Black Hawk Lounge, and it's where I used to spend a lot of time in my younger days.
Okay.
Because that building used to be called the Black Hawk.
Okay.
And a young man who purchased it a few years ago, when he was going to do some renovation on it and found out it was too much for him and he got out of it. But he had torn off part of the wallpaper, and there was this big Black Hawk on the wall there. And he called me and he said, do I know what that big Black Hawk was for? And I said, yeah, because that used to be the Black Hawk Lounge.
Man, time transition.
Yeah.
So right now that building's up for
that building is up. I mean,
wants
the RFP is out.
Okay.
So yeah, and I know two Black investors that are interested in looking at it. I don't know, and I hesitate to speak their name, but there is a service that what do you call them? Well, I'll just say between Lionsgate, Four Horsemen, and some of the others, they did display some interest in it for a while. I don't know if that's what they're going to do or not. That's a pretty big building. It's a pretty old building. Two-story.
Okay.
And those apartments haven't been used.
Apartments upstairs?
There's apartments upstairs.
Okay.
So there are possibilities and that's another building that if you do it right and you bring in the right kind of people and you collect the right kind of rents, it can sustain itself.
Right.
So you're not going out begging people for money with your hand out and all that kind of stuff. And the other thing that we need to do more of as a group of, as Black people specifically, is recognizing that we live in a capitalistic society, and that, you know, the best way for us to have any say in properties anywhere is for us to have money to be able to invest.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
we need to invest in that Black
Mhm.
bank.
Mhm.
I already have an account there. A number of our folks already have an account there.
Mhm.
But our investment group is waiting for the investment side of that bank to open up, because we want to invest in that too.
Well, heck yeah.
Mhm.
You know, but we got to invest in ourselves.
Well, heck yeah.
You know, everybody else is doing it. We're the only ones not doing it.
And
So
this
we
is-
got to invest in ourselves, and a lot, and more people than you think are recognizing that, because the way this investment club started was listening to the boss. A radio that I did a show and I talked about investment clubs, and then I got a call from a guy that says, I want to start an investment club. Would you be a part of it? Well, sure. I'm part of the club, you know. But the origination of it and the idea of it came from the boss.
All praise to God. I need to be part of the investment club.
Right. And just to clarify, can we go back to the bank,
Sure.
the Black Bank? What's the name of that? Because people are listening, probably never heard of that, the announcement of the Carver Bank.
The Carver Bank
Let's
building.
let them know what that is and when.
What it is
Where
now.
can they make their
Yeah, it
deposits?
is going to be several things. One, the first and foremost is going to be a Black bank.
Okay.
Okay, but in addition to that, you know that there's space in there.
Mhm.
So, and again, we're talking about sustainability.
Mhm.
So they're talking about the possibility of a small restaurant going in where Big Mama's sandwich shop used to be.
Right.
In the back is going to be a business incubator for business startups.
Okay.
Okay, and then later on down the line, they're going to have an investment capacity, so that those of us who are in investment clubs and other things can invest in, say, for example, the Black Bank decides to invest in the Great Plains Black Museum. We build a new building. Okay,
Mm.
our investment club would invest in that. You know, invest in the building of the new Great Plains Black Museum,
Mhm.
if that's the direction that the bank decided that they wanted to go in.
Mhm.
So, you know, there's going to be an investment arm there that we want to participate in and later. But right now, we just want to put money in there so that people recognize
Mhm.
that we are supportive of this Black institution.
Okay, so this is the Carver Legacy that we're
Carver
talking
Legacy,
about.
yeah,
And
Carver
we can make
Legacy.
deposits at
Right now,
right now
Right now.
at American National Bank.
as American, you can go to any American National Bank,
Mhm.
and American National Bank, and specify that it's for
It's a Carver Legacy. They want to
Carver-
open up
Carver
a Carver
Legacy.
Legacy
Yeah,
account.
yeah, Carver. You want to open a Carver Legacy account,
Right.
and you can do it at any of the American National banks,
Okay.
and they'll take care of it for you.
Awesome. Awesome. So this is opportunity for
This is a great opportunity.
yeah,
We've not had a financial institution in our community
Yeah.
since the Franklin Credit Union.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
That's
it's way past time.
Mhm.
That's what I
And
Absolutely.
the people that are doing this, my hat is off to them. Willie Barney, the folks at American National Bank, you know, others who Ernest White,
which is
a number of these folks that were intimately involved in making this happen.
right.
You know, my hat is off to them, because it took a while. Now, the other thing I did was I made sure they got the building,
Mhm. Okay,
the Carver
good.
building.
Is that owned by
No, it's owned by
the city?
no. It was owned by the city.
Okay, all
The
right.
city sold
So
it
you
to
worked
them.
it out. Okay.
Yeah, the
Well,
city
thank you,
sold it to
Councilman.
them. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Appreciate it. Someone needs to thank you for that. Big time.
Now let's go back up north, Councilman, 30th and Sprague.
Okay.
You got the old fuzzy
Mm-hmm.
bar right there, and a strip of businesses where kind of like just north of Thomas Funeral Home.
Mm-hmm.
Is that city owned building, or do you know what's going on with that property? Because I've seen it's been corded off, and I know our older generations hang out by the tree over there. What's going on with that property over there on 30th and Sprague?
I'm going to be a little coy here, if you don't mind.
No. What does coy mean?
Coy means I'm not going to tell you everything,
Okay.
because
Play around with you.
I don't know everything.
Okay.
Here's what I can tell you. That property has been sold to a Black-owned organization in town.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
and they're going to develop it.
Okay.
And that's the end of my conversation.
All right, all right. Hey, long as it's black. I mean, because we trying to build this 24th Street.
Yeah.
We try, and we want mind everybody coming and joining us, but we want to make sure that we own some land and open up some business over here also.
That whole corner is black owned, and they're doing the development. And that's all I'm going to say.
All right.
Well, primarily, that's pretty much all I know. But even if I knew more, I wouldn't say. And I'm not going to say who the entity is.
Great.
But I can tell you that they're doing business and they live in Omaha.
Good. Well, shouts out to all those anonymous brothers and sisters. That's stepping up, man. For real. I'm about to start crying over here.
Bill, there's more people stepping up than you. No, there are more people stepping up than you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I couldn't be more pleased.
Right.
Mhm.
That's why I don't spend a whole lot of time on Facebook, because I'm dealing with people that want to get stuff done.
So you working?
I'm working. I'm dealing with people that want to get stuff done. There are a couple of things that I'll announce to you in the very near future that are pretty huge deals in our community. And one of them is going to be pretty much black operated, and the other one's going to be jointly operated. But they're going to be big deals. I mean,
nice.
bigger than what we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need some big deals around here.
So, but I'm not at liberty to talk about it now. But I'll be talking about it more. Give me about a month.
Okay.
And then one of those pieces will come together, and I'll be able to talk more extensively about it.
Okay.
All right.
Marty,
So we're developing 24th Street.
Mhm.
You got the 24th Street corridor organization. Are they on board with just revitalizing North 24th Street strip all the way down to wherever? And as far as it relates to black-owned buildings,
The people that I talk
businesses.
to that are involved in the 24th Street Business Improvement District, I'm attached to them quite a bit. The 24th Street Corridor Alliance, I'm not so much tied to that. I'll, if I'm invited to something, I'll come to that. But again, I understand this community. I understand that there are people that don't care for me for whatever reason. And I know that sometimes what they try to do is set up traps and things like that. So I'm very careful about my dealings with certain people.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm just honest with you all. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a very.
It seems like we all need to be on the same page, though. In order to get
I
this
would love
done.
for us to be on the same page.
In order to get this done, I mean, really on a
I would
higher
love for
level.
us to be on the same page, but we got to respect each other. And when we don't, things go awry. And there's a lack of respect. I get it. I understand it. It's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing, but I get it. I'm sorry, Martine. I wish there was a better answer for you, but there's not.
Right.
So what would you like to see 30 years down the road?
If I'm around that long.
We're hoping you'll be around. Well, how would you like to see this area improve?
Well, the way areas improve, quite frankly, is I think among the things we need or would like to have along this corridor, number one is the dry cleaners. I mean, not necessarily number one, but it would be nice to have a dry cleaners in this area.
Black owned?
Black owned. I'm not talking about anything other than black owned.
All right.
Okay.
All right now. Just checking.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about. It would be nice to have the regular mom and pop restaurants that do the soul food, but we need a step up from that to, maybe steaks and chops and to maybe a higher end restaurant, because that's what draws people. And then, I think we got to have, because this is a cultural and entertainment district, we got to provide the kind of, not entertainment that people are going to come to and spend $5, but entertainment where people are going to come and spend and support major opportunities in this community for entertainment, whatever that entertainment looks like. I would like to see a couple more, and I know people are going to be upset with me when I say this, but I would like to see one or two more really nice nightclubs. Really nice nightclubs.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, in the area. So those are the kinds of things that you can build on. And if you see those things start to develop, it encourages developers to look at other things in the area because they see the support is there. So you got to create the support first, and then the businesses and the investment will come. You know.
Now you mentioned art, and art I believe is saving the world really.
I do too, Bill.
We got land down here. Why not an amphitheater where our people can go and we don't have to rent from everyone else?
Well,
and it creates some sustainability in our own community. But an amphitheater where people can sit out their chairs. And we got a lot of green space where we can make that happen. Maybe over at Fontanelle.
I think the best place for it, Bill, for right now, for what you're talking about, the green space that you're talking about, there was a study that was done, the Omaha Economic Development Corporation and one other entity, I don't remember which one off the top of my head, it might have been Love Jazz, that engaged in a study. And that study and the money was given to them by the Doherty Foundation to do and it was about $100,000 to do a study of the 24th Street area. And the initial thought was to tear down the small business network and make all of that an amphitheater green space.
Right.
When the study came back, it said, if you try to do all of it and you're not successful in getting people down here, it's going to always look empty and then it's going to get vandalized. But if you do where they park, if you make that portion of it an amphitheater in a green space, then when you put people in there, it looks much more full. You understand what I'm saying? Where where the OSBN now, where they park.
Yeah.
The parking lot right on 24th Street where they park.
Okay.
Move that parking and make that a green space.
Okay.
That was the suggestion of the study.
Okay.
But don't make the whole building and that whole ground a green space, because if you don't get the people that you're looking for, it's going to be it'll look empty all the time, and it's easy for vandalism to occur.
Right.
Okay, so their suggestion was just the parking lot itself, making that a green space. Now, whether we'll go there or not, I don't know.
Interesting.
And whether we'll do it in my time or not, I don't know. But it's something that's
because even Midtown it's got that kind of feel
exactly
but with residents around them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's basically how Midtown is really built.
And I think this would be a good opportunity for a green space amphitheater in that area, right there on the corner of 24th and Lake, right in front of the OSBN building. Mm-hmm. And if they're going to renovate that and make it into the things that I talked about, the mixed use, where they park on the side and so forth, then not only will you have an area where there's some commercial stuff going on, but there would be people in the area to support that commercial that's going in there as well.
Right.
I mean, those are the things we got to think, and that's the way we got to think about it.
Because we want business down here.
Yes,
we want business down here where other small businesses go in there. Maybe we could have a Subway or actually we need to get Peachtree from Kansas City come up here for real. And some Gates barbecue and put them in over there. Man, that'd be perfect. Like you said, man. But you gotta have vision.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there any other buildings on 24th Street? Let me visualize. Me go down. We got a lot of vacant lots.
Mm-hmm.
Are those owned by private entities? Are any of those owned by the city?
Some are. There's a few that are owned by the city. There's a few, and I'd have to look at a map to tell you where they are. Mm-hmm. But there are a few that are owned by the city. There are some that are owned by Habitat. Most of those lots are privately owned along 24th Street.
Most of them are vacant. So are the owners just sitting on them?
Well, we got one slumlord that's sitting on his. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got one, and it's a prime piece of property down further south down here by the clinic.
So do they not want to sell? Is that what it is?
They don't want to sell.
What are they waiting on?
Christmas. I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, are you going to make the building something, or are you just going to leave it?
Because they're private owners, and the only way that you can do it is to take the property by eminent domain. And I don't think the city wants to fight with this. We fought with this. We know this slumlord really well.
Oh, okay.
And to keep fighting with him is that's a ridiculous thing to do. So You know, we just kind of let him sit there. What CHI did was they tried to buy it and they couldn't buy it, so they built around him. You know, and that's sometimes what you have to do when people are unreasonable about their property. You just have to go ahead and build around them.
Right. Kind of like Metro.
Kind of like Metro.
On 30th and
yeah, they got
around that.
Yeah, they got a car wash that doesn't seem to want to leave, and so we'll just build around them. That's it.
And they've been successful, and it looks really nice. The development, and you know, it looks really nice.
But Metro, I know, would like to develop to the corner.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure they would too.
Yeah,
without doubt. What are you working on now? I mean, I know coronavirus is in effect. What else should are you working on right now?
You know, coronavirus is in effect, and being on the health board makes it doubly difficult for me because I'm looking at those stats every day, and I see that our stats aren't going down, and I see that we've had another 227 cases today. So the numbers aren't going down, and I'm really concerned about that because people don't understand. If we get too high and we get a situation where all beds are in use and the numbers are way up there, if we have to shut down again, it will be disastrous. It'll be disastrous for the city.
In what way?
But it'll be a death knell for North Omaha.
In what way?
Because all the businesses will have to close.
No money.
If we have to shut down again, that means no bars open, no restaurants open, you know, most other businesses won't be open. You know, if we have to shut down again, and that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that we're not taking this seriously enough. And I'm concerned about seeing the numbers stay in the triple digits. Because if they stay in the triple digits and we have to get to a point where we have to shut down again, look what's happening in Europe.
Yeah,
I mean, Europe is having a second spread.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, what do we got to look forward to? And if we don't do something to address it now and a second spread comes, what position are we going to be in?
Interesting.
You know, we run the risk of doing damage to our city and doing death to Northeast and Southeast Omaha.
Right.
We gotta, come on, man.
Yeah.
People gotta be serious about wearing these masks. You know, and social distancing and doing the things that are appropriate for that. So, but to answer your question, Bill, it doesn't stop me from looking at developers. It doesn't stop me from doing development. It doesn't stop any of that. As a matter of fact, what I'm telling you is in about a month or so, I'm going to be able to come in here and talk to you about a development that's going to knock your socks off.
Okay.
Because it's going to be in an area where you would least expect it.
Okay.
So,
16th Street? 21st Street? 30th? Come on, Councilman, spill the beans. This is the show. You spill the beans here.
We'll talk in a month.
Whisper in the ear, Martise. Whisper in the ear.
We'll
I
talk.
tried. I'm supposed to try.
I'll whisper it. I'll whisper it in you.
Okay. Now, North 30th Street. I had a question for we had two county commissioners, Kavanaugh and Rogers.
Yes.
30th Street have been it has been widened. It has been shrunk.
Yes.
Narrow.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the wintertime, or not even in the wintertime, what if a car is over there? Are cars gonna get infractions? Are cars gonna get tickets if they mistakenly drive in the bike lane?
No.
Okay. Because now that's one of my concerns, because we already get pulled over by police at a higher rate, and I don't want that to be used as an excuse to pull us over even more.
Now that's a tug of war, Bill, and I'm glad you brought up the police thing because you know people are talking about over policing in North Omaha.
No, we need more black police officers. What the hell are they talking about? For real.
I'm gonna let you say that.
I had the police in here the other day. For real. Man, we need more black police officers. They got about 600 police, about 590 police officers. We need
no.
How many?
No, we got close to 800 police officers.
800? And then we only got about 40 black. I mean, we got a lot.
Now you got to remember, Bill, when I first came in office,
right.
we had about 4% black officers. Now we're up to 10.
We need more.
But we need more 10%. that's happened in the last
Wow.
8 years.
Okay.
And so, and we're still building on that.
Right.
And the chief is committed to that.
Yeah, and Chief is good. He's good.
And he's committed to that. But it depends on which group you talk to, because there's some people that say we're being over policed. There's another group that says, and this is the group that I'm hearing a lot from on 24th Street now on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like I said, we got neighbors that live here who have to go to work in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're booming loud music and stuff like that, see, what people need to understand is that, when we do those kinds of things, it discourages business development. When we're out to 3 o'clock in the morning and
Mm-hmm.
shooting up the place and all kinds of stuff like that,
Yeah.
what businesses are going to move here? I got some
Mm-hmm.
hot spots in North Omaha where I got developers chomping at the bit. Not on North 24th Street.
Mm.
And my district is way bigger than North 24th Street.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I got to look at everything.
Right.
And if I got developers that want to build in a certain part and they don't want to be in another part, I can't argue with them about that.
Right.
Because to me, all that is jobs.
Mhm.
Okay. And if it's in North Omaha, it's a place where anybody in North Omaha can get to.
Mhm.
And that's my interest, making
Mhm.
sure that we're developing and creating jobs in this community wherever we do it. I would
Mhm.
like to see it on 24th Street, but I'd like to see it all over the district, quite frankly.
Mhm.
But I certainly need to see it on 24th Street where we have a National Historic Registry.
Yeah.
I would like to see it there. But, I'm about development, creating jobs, and more importantly, sustaining and doing things for people that are getting out of the penitentiary, getting out of prison.
Mhm.
We've got to do something to address that, because I'm not going to be supportive of building another jail.
Mhm.
If somebody starts talking about building another jail, the loudest voice you're going to hear is mine,
Mhm.
because all that is a trap for Black people.
Mhm. So are you referring to the new one that's built for the youth?
No, I'm talking about the one they're talking about building
Another one.
Okay. Another
For
one?
adults.
Yeah.
For adults.
Oh,
for
okay.
adults.
Okay.
No. The juvenile justice, we need to talk about that
You
on
think
another
that's
day.
okay?
Because
You think
what
that's
people need to
a trap for
understand
Black
about that.
youth?
But that's more the county. That's
More the
issue.
county than it is
Okay.
the city. But I'm on the 501c3 committee, and
Oh, yeah,
what people need to know.
Calvin, I did bring your name up.
Yeah, but
he
see,
did.
let
But he brought up more Chris. He
I know, but
Yeah.
keep in mind this: people think that we're building an additional jail. We're not. When we build this juvenile justice center, the current facility is going to close.
Well, what's going to happen to it?
Well, I'm hoping.
Is that city owned also? Or
No, that's county owned.
Okay.
That's county
county
owned.
owned,
Yeah. So I don't know what their plans are
Right,
for that.
right.
But I know once we build the one, the other one's going to close.
Okay.
So we're not talking about 2 jails. We're only talking about one facility for
Right.
young people,
Mhm.
and a facility that's filled with programming and other kinds of things to help people, hopefully at the front end, so that we're not dealing with it at the back end.
And Chris said less beds also.
Less beds, yeah.
Okay.
Now, we're being fought on that, and I understand the police's position on that. But I think if you build the beds, you're going to fill the beds. And I think we got to get, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We can't keep building jails. We can't keep putting people in jails without any programming to help them sustain themselves when they get out. That's what we got. That's where we got to be now. That's what we got to be about now.
Let me ask you a question. Since you're on city council, can you mandate that if they are sentenced more than 6 months that they have to participate in a GED if they don't have it, or participate in some kind of educational certification? Is that a possibility?
I want to do that, Bill, and I would like to codify it, if you would, to answer your question. I would like to codify it, but the programs have to exist.
So
in the correctional facility now, a lot of those programs don't. Some do,
Mhm.
but most people don't avail themselves of it, or there's not enough space. So there needs to be that kind of a thing occurring, but we got to have a program in place first.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking about all the development that could possibly happen here along 24th Street.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that we could do? Possibly come together as a community, invest, and just buy up these buildings.
If people recognize that we live in a capitalistic society, and if they recognize that the investment club that I'm in, these are people that say, look, you're going to throw away $20, $30, $40 on McDonald's every week or the club every week or something like that. Take some of that money and invest it in a club. Okay. So the opportunity is there. People just have to stop with their petty differences and petty bickering and recognize that this is a capitalistic society. And the only way that we are going to be able to have our own is to build our own. And the only way to build our own is to invest in ourselves.
Right.
Only way to do it. Otherwise, your hand is going to always be out to somebody. And most of us ought to be tired of that.
Right.
And we ought to be tired of having somebody else, when our hand is out, those monies come with strings to them. We ought to be tired of the strings. We should be tired of. We ought to be tired of the strings. We ought to set up our own strings.
I agree with that.
Instead of waiting for somebody else to do it. That's what my investment club is about, or the investment club that I'm a part of. That's what we're about. We're about investment. We're about moving forward. We're about doing things in areas where they may not have considered before, with an opportunity for a return on our investment. Right. I mean, we're looking for a return as well. I mean, we're not doing it for nothing. That's the part. We're not putting these monies together for nothing. We're hoping for a return on our investment. But you got to invest.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to invest. You got to make that happen. And the only way to do that is us pooling our money and pooling our resources. A number of years ago, I tried to start the Black United Fund of Nebraska, where everybody contributed $10 a month.
Well, I mean, you did.
I created it, but
I mean, that's actually how we started the radio station.
It was through the Black United Fund in Nebraska.
And I got my proposal. And I went to the African American bookstore.
Yep.
And Brother Taylor and the group back there, I gave my proposal. I said, I want to start a radio station. And they believed in me. And look at where we're at now.
All right.
And we still got more to do. Oh, affirmative action. Okay. A gentleman here who's a really good friend of mine, who I love dearly, loved his father dearly. I won't mention his name right now unless he wants me to, but he wanted me to touch on affirmative action. And when I came into office, they had just banned affirmative action and placed it in the Constitution.
So you had nothing to do with that?
No.
People was blaming you about that also. The word on the street was that you got rid of affirmative action, and then you set up the what do you call that? The emerging business.
Small emerging business ordinance.
Right.
I had to create the small emerging business ordinance because they eliminated affirmative action. They got it backwards. I had to create the small emerging. As a matter of fact, I was talking about that on Channel 22 today.
Okay.
I had to create the small emerging business ordinance because prior to me coming on the council, people had got hoodwinked and thought they were voting for one thing, and they were actually voting for the elimination of affirmative action.
Right.
Not only that, but they placed it in the Constitution. If y'all remember, about 2 months ago, Chris Rogers and I did a joint resolution for the county and the city to ask the legislature to place on the ballot eliminating the affirmative action ban.
Right.
Chris Rogers and I did that.
Right.
Okay, but we had nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, what really irritated me about the elimination of the affirmative action ban was it was a black man that came here and did that. His name was Ward Connolly.
Yep.
And there was a meeting that we had at the Omaha Public Schools in which we were going to address this. And I was so disappointed. There was only me, Chris Rogers, Brenda Council, and one other person in the whole place. Nobody else black, nobody white, to fight this man against against the ban on affirmative action. Now, Sister Council will tell you that, Commissioner Rogers will tell you that. We were highly disappointed that we were the only people there. I thought that school building would have been full of black folks and brown folks.
I remember,
and it was only the four of us there, and I was really.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember Brother Conley. That's why I was doing my TV show. Reverend Reynolds interviewed. He actually interviewed him his views and everything. I said, man, and I encourage people not to, vote for it, but like the language was very.
The language was messy. The language made you think that you were being supportive of it, but the reality was you were eliminating the ban. You were eliminating affirmative action.
Yes,
that's what you did. But they used tricky language. Mm-hmm. That's what bothered me about the marijuana ban and the court and striking that down because of the language problem. If you had a language problem with that, you should have had a language problem with this ban on affirmative action.
Right.
And you didn't. And I'm really irritated with the courts about that because if that language was ambiguous, this affirmative action ban language was absolutely ambiguous.
Right.
Made you think you were doing one thing when you were actually doing another.
Right.
And the court knew that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They're very, 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 very tricky. I'm glad you gentlemen took that initiative. I mean, we was bragging. We talked about it a great deal because we got to do things differently.
Yes,
we got to do things differently.
We got to invest, man. We got to take our dollars. Do you know?
And we have a question about that too.
If we were to pool our resources as a Black community, if we were to pool our resources, we would be the 8th largest country in the world.
Yeah, I think we make about a couple
the
trillion.
8th largest country in the world, and yet we squander money.
We have a question from a Facebook Live. Shamari Huggins says, "How do we get folks to recognize this as a capitalistic society?"
Well, we've been living in it forever. We've been living in a capitalistic society forever, and I think we've been resistant. I think some of us have been resistant to it. Because we're angry at this country, and we should be. But being angry at this country is not going to pay the bills. Right. Is not going to get investment done in our community. So you got to do that. So what you do is, like with the one gentleman that called me and said, "Do you want to be a part of this investment club?" Sure. Call some people, put together. So you don't need to do what we're doing. I mean, we're doing about $20 a month. You don't have to do that much, or you can do more than that if you have the capability of doing it. But the key is to invest, join with others who are investing, put our money together, and we could buy up some of this stuff rather than waiting for people, rather than waiting with our hands out or wringing our hands because some elected official is not doing what we think he should be doing or she should be doing. Rather than doing all of that, why aren't we investing our money? Why aren't we doing something better than going out partying every weekend? Why don't we take some of those party dollars, put them in an investment club, let that marinate over a couple of years, and before you know it, you got $20,000, $30,000 to deal with.
Right, and we can go buy up one of the buildings.
Exactly.
Or
the lots.
And lots.
Or you can, for $20,000, $30,000, you could buy probably about 10 lots.
Yeah, so it's more about educating.
Yes.
The community on what options they have.
We have the control if we will take it. We don't need we don't need all these people that we think we need. We need us, but we need us to be sound of body and sound of mind, and not thinking in terms of who am I going to get after this time or what did that and all of that. We should be past that. We should be to a point now where we recognize that certain investment is not going to occur unless we do it ourselves. That's what Willie Barney and the Empowerment Network and others did. That's why we have a Black bank, because we recognize that we have to put our own money together and do it ourselves.
Ben, how can you get the belief that that the perception that people feel that you're the middleman between the rich and the poor, and that perception that you're helping the rich, flourish more than the poor? You hear a lot of feedback. And
have you been looking at Trump's tax cuts lately? I don't need to help the rich. They're being helped enough. There's nothing I need to do for rich people.
Right.
One other thing, I almost forgot this, and this is the most important thing I need to say to y'all today. Get a book called CASTE, C-A-S-T-E. It's called Caste. It was written by Isabel Wilkerson, the same woman who wrote The Warmth of Other Suns. And it talks about the caste system. Now, the reason why you haven't heard a lot about that book, because there are two countries that have not put, this book is number one in almost every other country except two, India and the United States.
Why are two countries?
Because we live in a caste system.
Because England.
Because we live in a caste system.
Okay.
And the CASTE. Okay. We live in a caste system.
Okay.
Because when I read the book, it made it clear for me, because the one thing I never could understand about white people who are similarly situated like us, why would you vote against your own best interests? I mean, why would you vote for a guy like Donald Trump? Or why would you vote for a Bush or a Reagan that's going to give tax money to the wealthy and take tax dollars from you? Why would you do that? Caste. White people, no matter what their situation, they can be living in a trailer. And because of the caste system, they think they're better than you and me.
Right.
That's how they did. Read that book. I would encourage everybody, get Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. Read that book. It will tell you how America functions. Because caste is bigger than race. Racism is a part of the caste system. And once you understand that, it makes it clearer for how you need to operate. I praise this woman. I call this book, to me, Caste is the 21st century of, and I know a lot of people aren't going to know who I'm talking about, but African Origins of Civilization, which Diop made it clear that Black people are the founders of society. Made it clear, made it so that no historians could argue with him. He did that much research. And African Origins of Civilization is a hard book to read because he wrote it for scholars. And so it's hard. So you got to take it like 3 or 4 pages at a time and let it digest and marinate in you for a while to get it. But I see this book like that one. This book has pulled the sheet off of what America is, for real.
Now, since we're talking about injustice, there's a campaign for free Ernest Jackson. Have you heard about that campaign?
Yes.
About the brother? And I know you've been on the forefront with Poindexter and Rice. And what's your feeling on free Ernest Jackson?
You know, we got so many political prisoners in jail right now because we focus on we focus. And when I was doing my television show, I spent 20 years focusing on Rice and Poindexter, Mondo and Ed. But we have literally hundreds of political prisoners that are in jail simply because of their politics, not because of something they did wrong, not because of anything that they may have been involved in that could be shady, but because they were engaged in a political process to free themselves and to free their community. That's why they're in jail. And that's tragic. And we need to deal with that.
So you're in support of a friend Ernest Jackson?
Yes.
All right. Omaha, the Burbs, the Bluffs. We've been having a candid conversation. My co-host Martine, with our Councilman Ben Gray. It is 5:58. We want to be conscientious to his time. I like saying that, Martine. I feel very
4:58.
4:58. What did I say?
5:58.
You know I'll be.
Oh yeah, because I gotta leave here pretty because I got 3.
I'm late, so I.
I'm not. I got 3 people I got to register to vote before it gets late because you got to get those in. I got to get them in tomorrow.
Encourage the community to go out and vote while we're talking about.
Oh yeah, please. If we don't know how important the vote is by now, I don't know what it is.
You got to keep telling them, Councilman.
I know. I know you got to keep saying it over and over again and reminding people they got to get to the polls. They got to vote no matter what. When I was at the Cara Eastman thing earlier this week, I opened up by saying, well, when I got a chance to get to the mic, the first thing I said was, vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
Nice.
Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
All right. So you've got to help a couple people.
Yeah, I gotta get three people called me to get them registered. So I'm taking my brother. We're gonna go get these guys, get them registered because tomorrow's the deadline. So I got to get those. I got to get that
them
paperwork
registered to vote.
Yeah, I got to get them registered and get that paperwork in tomorrow.
That's right.
Well, bro, Ben, we appreciate you coming. We're gonna have you come black again. Oh yeah, without a doubt, come black again. And we're gonna.
Well, hopefully I won't have to defend myself so much this time.
We'll let you know if you have to, because you're not on Facebook.
We'll let you know. But there's a lot of questions that was on Facebook we didn't get a chance to answer.
Okay.
But I really wanted to talk about really the 24th Street corridor because a lot of people have specific question more about Pacific business. One is Embry, one is Love Jazz, of course OIC and OSB, and that's been the talk of the community as far as gentrification. Sum it up. Far as do you believe gentrification is going on?
Not in the manner that most people think of it. It wasn't like New York. It wasn't like Harlem or someplace like that where one day you woke up, you were black, and the next day you woke up and the place was white. It's not like that. What's occurring here is you have a number of people who, for several reasons, who have decided to move back to North Omaha for a variety of reasons. Whites, Latinos,
and African
Burmese,
yeah.
African, so, there are a lot of people that are here now that weren't here before. And so what you're having now is people of various, it's a real melting pot now. And so, and it's starting to go more and more that way. This district is changing. This city is changing, and this nation is changing. And we got to recognize that change and go with it and do what is necessary to continue to develop, build, and grow.
So are the complainers are the ones that not invested and they see other people come and invest? Because every what do you call it? Convenience store, gas station. We used to have Sam Young. Now Sam, we don't have a gas station. I mean, we don't have. I mean, every form.
No, Young's down on 45th and Bedford.
Yeah. The old Young's on Ames, burned down. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. The old one is on Ames. That one burned down, but he's now on 45th and Bedford.
Okay. So I mean, but we don't own convenience stores.
And he's got a bigger operation.
Great. So we got foreigners. We don't own. We're not operating convenience stores. We got, like you said, we got a melting pot of different people that's in this community.
Yeah, but see, they invest in each other.
They do.
We don't. We complain about each other. We don't invest. We don't invest. We complain.
That's all we do all day.
And
Asians just came here. Now they own almost half the block on 60th Street.
No, more than that, Bill. They're getting now. If you go up on 49th and Sorensen Parkway, and look to your north.
Oh yeah.
The Koreans are building their own church.
Yeah,
It's built.
Yep.
And they're getting ready to put in a community center in front of that. But they invest in each other.
Right. And they just got here.
Yes.
So these,
and that's the difference between us and them. We don't. Do you think it's a cultural thing? Because I
don't think it's a cultural. No, I think it's a slavery thing.
It is.
I think it's a slavery thing. I think we have been so indoctrinated for so long with Jim Crow and police brutality and all of these other things that, we don't see up. All we see is the next day. We don't see up.
Even now in 2020.
That's what it is.
We've been out of
Martine,
slavery.
I'm in here defending myself against things I never did. So what does that tell you? I mean, come on. I'm in here defending myself for something that I never was involved in.
So why are we fighting each other, though? I mean, the oppression was from the white people. So why are we fighting each other? How do we get out of that? We've been fighting each other for a long time. I know.
Cass. Read Cass.
We need to read Omaha, Nebraska. Read that book, Cass.
Read Cass. To answer your question, read Cass.
Okay.
All right.
I got an assignment.
All right, Omaha, the birds are blessed. We appreciate your patience.
Guys, I love y'all dearly, but I got to go register some voters before
we'll have Brother Ben back again. I will be back at 6 o'clock. I got some more interviews coming at 6. We got a 100 house owner coming. Maybe we'll give you some free tickets to a 100 house, y'all. Oh, yeah, it is a season. So come back at 6 o'clock.
All right.
Then also we're gonna have my man Dorsboy. He celebrated 10 years of his store, the L402 store on 62nd and Ames. Oh yeah, a black-owned business, been in 10 years. So we're gonna celebrate with him. You know what I mean? Without a doubt.
Nice.
Without a doubt. So we actually love our neighbors around here. Ben, you know what, man? You don't run. You like one of those African chiefs that you hear the lion roar in the jungle, and you run towards the lion. Oh yeah, you heard somebody talking about you, you come running. What they talking about? They lying. And you know what? You got the most famous video, check your facts, fool.
I remember that.
You got the most famous. So
there's sometimes
so why don't you just say that?
There's sometimes I'd like to forget that, but I'm
just go ahead and say it right now. I think it's time.
Check your facts, fool.
Thank you, period. All right. Thank you, Councilman. That's pretty good. Omaha, Nebraska. You heard it.
Check your facts, fool.
Bye.
All right. Heck yes. Hey. You know how I invite, Martine. I invited the other side in, Martine.
Yeah.
The ones that be, typing and stuff. Complaining.
Keyboard gangsters.
Yeah, keyboard gangsters. That's
what I call them.
I like the keyboard
gangsters.
Oh yeah, keyboard. Oh yeah. They be keyboard.
Yeah.
So I call it keyboard gangsters. Yeah, I call it keyboard gangsters, right? No, actually, I got slid into the meeting. I don't think they was happy I was there. I don't think they was happy.
You media.
But I invited them. They didn't show up. Oh yeah, but the champ showed up. The challengers didn't show up. The keyboard gangsters didn't show up. Oh yeah, I'll shuck it now. Don't make me tell her. Hey, don't get mad at me. Y'all ain't show up. Don't get mad at me. All right.
Can they come back? Can they come back?
It's over with. Done deal. Champion won. Done deal. It's over with.
It's over.
We about to go to Colorado Springs. I'm about to go train with the champion. That's how we are. I just hang around champions. I don't hang around keyboard gangsters. I don't got time for keyboard. I should counsel keyboard gangsters, Martine. You know that?
Okay.
I should counsel them. But that's all right. We want y'all back. I ain't gonna talk about y'all today. Come back at 6:00. We're gonna give away some free tickets. We got some owners coming from, I think, Glenwood, Iowa. They come and hang out with us.
Okay.
Yeah. We gotta reach, Martin. We gotta reach. White people like us too.
All right.
They do. They love us. They love us too. They be jamming off our music. All their babies was made off our music.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we do it. I was made off some slow music.
I think we all were.
I was made off some slow music. I don't know who it was, Lou Rawls or somebody. Omaha, Nebraska, the birds, the bluffs. Oh yeah. Hopefully, you guys, we had a candid conversation with our Councilman Ben Gray. He addressed some of the rumors that's on, from the keyboard gangsters. I call them next day Negroes, or I call them new masters.
Keyboard gangsters better.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, yeah. I like keyboard gangsters. It applies to those that type, And so, Martine, appreciate you coming in.
No problem. I'm getting ready to head on out of here.
Okay.
And y'all make sure y'all keep it locked in here later on for 6:00, and then also join us tomorrow for the Boss Morning Show at 7 a.m.
Hey, you never know we're gonna be on. We got some more controversy stuff going on.
It's Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday, y'all.
All right.
Oh yeah. Free Ernest Jackson, y'all. That's the movement. Free Ernest Jackson. Boss with us.
Boss with us.
All that never asked him about really for me.
It's just a public service announcement.
Are you tired of hearing about the coronavirus? Well, it's real.
I'm telling you, it's real.
Here's what I want you all to do for me. Check this out, man.
Don't panic. If you're sick, stay home.
Stay away from me. It's contagious.
Stay at least 6 feet away from others.
The most dangerous disease. Coronavirus.
Wash your hands frequently and practice good hygiene.
Stand and show these people what time it is, boy.
We can stop the spread of the virus.
Coronavirus. Show me your mouth.
So stay home, stop the spread, save lives. Most importantly, let's check on our elderly.
Word up. You ain't going out like this.
We're here to keep you informed.
Coronavirus. Just get it real.
In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.
Hi, I'm Terrell McKinney, and I'm running to represent District 11 in the Nebraska State Legislature. I am a father and community activist born and raised in North Omaha. I decided to run because I realized that young leaders must step up to protect our future. We can't afford to sit on the sidelines anymore. Our community needs leadership that won't just rely on experience. We need leaders that aren't afraid to fight for and engage with our community. The foundation has been laid by Senator Ernie Chambers, who has endorsed me. It's time to work to build significant investments and provide solutions for economic development, education, healthcare, and criminal justice reform. I want you to think about our future voting this upcoming election. North Omaha needs to be represented in the Nebraska State Legislature. My name is Terrell McKinney, and I'm asking for your vote, either by mail or November 3rd at the polls. To learn more about me and my campaign, visit my website, peopleforterrellmckinney.com. All power to the people.
I'm LaVon Stennis Williams. I voted Democrat my entire life, but come November, I'll be voting for my first Republican, Don Bacon. If you look at his record, you'll see he cares. From ushering in legislation for criminal justice reform to bringing in $25 million for low-income housing and the opportunity zones. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And Don Bacon has shown he cares for everyone. Don Bacon is the ally we need in Congress.
I am Don Bacon, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Don Bacon for Congress.
Are you a business person fed up with working for someone else? Are you in sales and tired of traveling for and selling for a company you don't own? You could partner with iTex, the country's largest retail trade exchange. iTex helps individuals and businesses increase sales, move idle inventory, open new markets, and build cash profit. Now is a great time to partner with us in this fast-growing business. Visit omaha.itex.com. Become an iTex partner. Visit omaha.itex.com.
It's just a public service announcement.
Are you tired of hearing about the coronavirus?
Coronavirus.
Well, it's real.
I'm telling you, it's real.
Here's what I want y'all to do for me. Check this out, man.
Don't panic. If you're sick, stay home.
Stay away from me. It's contagious.
Stay at least 6 feet away from others.
The most dangerous disease. Coronavirus.
Wash your hands frequently and practice good hygiene.
Show these people what time it is, boy.
We can stop the spread of the virus.
Coronavirus. Show me your mouth.
So stay home, stop the spread, save lives. Most importantly, let's check on our elderly.
Word up. You ain't going out like this.
We're here to keep you informed.
Coronavirus. Just get it real.
In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.
I'm LaVon Stennis Williams. I voted Democrat my entire life, but come November, I'll be voting for my first Republican, Don Bacon. If you look at his record, you'll see he cares. From ushering in legislation for criminal justice reform to bringing in $25 million for low-income housing and the opportunity zones. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And Don Bacon has shown he cares for everyone. Don Bacon is the ally we need in Congress.
I am Don Bacon, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Don Bacon for Congress.
Are you a business person fed up with working for someone else? Are you in sales and tired of traveling for and selling for a company you don't own? You could partner with iTex, the country's largest retail trade exchange. iTex helps individuals and businesses increase sales, move idle inventory, open new markets, and build cash profit. Now is a great time to partner with us in this fast-growing business. Visit omaha.itex.com. Become an iTex partner. Visit omaha.itex.com.
I think it's a game.
Play with me. Yeah. Play with me. Yeah. Play with me. If you money. Yeah. I like my money real neat. Just like I like all my freaks. Yeah. You said you with me. I'ma just sip my little tea. Yeah, you know that. She let me. She talked the feast. On top of the then I still change the seats. I change my clothes. My wrist goes according. My wrist goes according. I keep the gang with me, cause they gon' bang for me. I saw my out in public. You do the same if you came from nothing. I made it up, say I got lucky. I'm doing my thing, only God can judge me. My teacher, but now they want me. I'm stunting, I keep me some bands in the duff. That's when I was trapping, I didn't touch nothing. My look serving for me on the huff. I'm on fire, these on the puppy. Saint Laurent shade got me feeling like Puffy. Ain't it ironic that call me ugly? Now ain't it ironic that wanna me? See one. I'm getting money, yeah. I've been saying they funny, yeah. I get that back and I blow that, yeah. Say you get money, then show that, yeah. This the cute money, not Kodak, yeah. Watch what you bring in your bag, yeah. I like my money real neat, just like I like all my freaks, yeah. You said you with me, I'ma just sip my little tea, yeah. You know that. She let me go for free. She told her face, do a face on top of the cover. Then I still change the seats. I changed my clothes. Wrist goes according. My wrist goes according. Yeah. I keep the gang with me, cause they gon' bang for me. Yeah. I saw my out in public. You do the same if you came from nothing. I made it up. Say I got lucky. I'm doing my thing. Only God can judge me. I used to trap at the corner stove. I put the on the stove. I know some that play with their nose. Most of my still serving that. When I was serving, fiends blew up my phone. I blew up the pack. I made it back. Pull up to the trap or wherever I'm at. Don't bring your phone out when I'm serving this pack. I hit from the back. She don't get attached. Why? Cause my is like, I look like I dress like I smell like a sack. Why? Cause I got them racks. Hit the club poppin', mow it, yeah. Hit the strip club and throw it, yeah. You got then smoke it, yeah. I'm still pistol toe it, yeah. Mama told me stay focused, yeah. Everybody know I'm chosen, yeah. Most of these be bogus, yeah. Stay down, cop that Lotus, yeah. Most champagne on my rollie, dressing all black, but I'm still holy, yeah. Stay tough, we expose them, yeah. We tough, we expose them, yeah. I like my money real neat, just like I like all my freaks, yeah. You said you with me, I'ma just sip my little tea, yeah. You know that. She let me go for free. He told her to feast. On top of the, then I still change the seats. I changed my clothes. Wrist goes according. My wrist goes according. Yeah. I keep the gang with me, cause they gon' bang for me. Yeah. I saw my in public.